everyone. Welcome to my channel, Catskill Mountain Homebody. My name's Amy. It has been almost 2 years since I posted a video called The 10 Reasons Why I Love Living in the New York Catskills. That video has gotten some views. It makes me think that people are interested in what life is like in the New York Catskills. What's it like to live here? So I thought I would make another video, and this one is going to be a little different because I'm going to go into some detail, which I didn't really do in the other video. I kind of just listed 10 reasons why I love living in the New York Catskills. In this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about a few more reasons why I love living in the New York Catskills, but with some more detail. So if you're new here, thank you for joining me. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I do a lot of videos on the New York Catskills and also on my life in the Catskills, cooking and decorating. We live in a modern farmhouse. It was built in, I think, 2006. We're the second owners of the house, but a lot of things in this house the previous owners put in that is old and reclaimed. So the beams, for example, in my ceiling are reclaimed from an old barn. The wall behind me has reclaimed wood on it. The floors are made with reclaimed wood. So it's a new house, but with a lot of old farmhouse charm. So if you want to see more of my house and see videos where I decorate my house, check out my channel. And welcome back to those who have been here before. I'm glad you came back. Okay, so let's get into it. More reasons why I love living in the New York Catskills with more detail. All right, the first thing, if you've been here before, you know I'm a history teacher. I have been teaching for over 25 years, and I love history. So the first thing I'm going to mention in this video is the cool history in the New York Catskill area. Before I start, I just want to note, and I've noted this in other videos, there are 4 counties that make up the New York Catskills. And they are Greene County, Delaware County, Ulster County, and Sullivan County. Those are the 4 New York counties that can make up the Catskill area of New York State. So it's not one town. There's a town called Catskill, and people think that's the Catskills. That's one town in one county out of the 4 counties that make up the Catskill area of New York. So the Catskill Mountains and the Catskill area of New York is a very broad area spread out among 4 different counties. It's not just one town in one county. The first thing that I'm going to mention is a place that's in Sullivan County in a town called Narrowsburg, New York, and it's known as the Fort Delaware Museum of Colonial History. All right, I'm going to have to refer to some of my notes in this video because I have a lot of detail that I have done research on for you. Okay, so the Fort Delaware Museum of Colonial History is what you would call a living history museum, where people walk around with colonial style outfits and they're doing activities that people in colonial America would have done. Kind of like if you go to Williamsburg, Virginia, where they have reenactors. So at Fort Delaware, at the Fort Delaware Museum in Narrowsburg, there are people reenacting colonial times, and they are dressed like the first European settlers that came to the New York State area. There is a lot of history at the Fort Delaware Museum that you can learn more about New York history. And this is one of the things I really like about Fort Delaware. It is very affordable for families. So an adult admission is like $7. Kids are even cheaper. You can get a family package, and they also have discounts for senior citizens. So it is a fun museum to go to, especially with kids, because it's like stepping back in time to the colonial era, and it's right in the Catskill Mountains. So that's an example of colonial era history you can go visit in the Catskill Mountains. There's another historical site to visit called the Mohonk Preserve. This is located in Ulster County, New York, one of the 4 Catskill counties. The Mohonk Preserve was the home of the Lenape Native Americans. In the Mohonk Preserve, there is an amazing stone bridge that the Lenape people used to use as a bridge over the Hudson River. So if you go to the Mohonk Preserve, you can walk a historic trail that the Native Americans walked years and years ago before European contact. And you can go over the stone bridge they used to go over the Hudson River in early history. Another cool historical site I've mentioned on this channel before. I can't do a video on the history of the Catskills unless I mention the 1969 Woodstock Festival. I've mentioned this before. The original 1969 Woodstock Festival happened in Sullivan County, New York, in a town called Bethel. Not in the town of Woodstock, New York, which is in Ulster County. That's not where the festival was. So if you go to Woodstock, New York, you are nowhere near where the original festival was. All right, so at the site of the original 1969 Woodstock Festival is a place called Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, and it is an outdoor concert venue. Many famous artists and musicians have performed there. It's a fun place to go and see a concert. They also have a lot of different music festivals that they hold there in the summer. And they have a 1960s museum with a lot of Woodstock memorabilia. I always say to my students that the Woodstock Festival, that 1969 Woodstock Festival, came to define the baby boomer generation because the festival was designed to celebrate peace, love, and harmony. This was at the time of the anti-Vietnam War movement, and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong at the Woodstock Festival. The organizers of the concert did not expect almost 500,000 people to show up. They ran out of supplies. It rained the whole time, so the field became a mud bath. This was held on a farm, a private farm. And they had electrical problems, lighting problems. Everything went wrong. But all the people who gathered there helped each other. They had fun. It really was a concert dedicated to peace, love, and harmony. And that's kind of how they dealt with all the problems. So that's why sometimes the baby boomers are referred to as the Woodstock generation. That's how much that concert has left a mark on that baby boomer generation. So if you want to go to the original place where the original concert was held, you have to come to Sullivan County, New York, to Bethel, to the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, and go to the museum. So that's the first reason why I love living in the Catskills, is the rich history in the New York Catskills. Okay, I decided to move into the living room where it's a little bit more comfortable. All right, the third reason why I love living in the New York Catskills is the beautiful architecture. And if you really love architecture, there are some cool places to visit to look at nice architecture in the New York Catskills. So let me give you some examples. In Greene County, New York, which is one of the northern counties in the Catskills, there is a hamlet called Tannersville in the town of Hunter, New York. So Tannersville has a main street that is beautiful. Tannersville is sometimes referred to as the painted village in the sky because that particular area of Greene County has the highest mountains of the Catskill Mountains. So high elevation. So Tannersville, so if you drive down Main Street in Tannersville, it is lined with 100-year-old buildings, all painted in bright, cheerful colors with architectural details and decorative features on them. So that's why it's known as the painted village in the sky. So on Main Street in Tannersville, there are amazing restaurants, antique stores, and boutiques. So that, if you're looking at a really beautiful little hamlet, little town in the Catskills, Tannersville is a really fun place to go and spend the afternoon. All right, another example of great architecture is there is an old theater in a town called Callicoon, New York. This is in Sullivan County, New York. So this is a theater that was built in the 1940s, and it is a one-show theater. And when you go into the Callicoon Theater, it's like you step back into the 1940s, like an old-fashioned movie theater. It's the oldest continuously run movie theater in the county. But it has state-of-the-art surround sound and equipment, but the actual theater itself really looks like you're going back in time. to the 40s to watch an old movie. And the town of Callicoon also has great restaurants and great shopping. So if you want to spend the day in Callicoon, go to a movie, have a nice dinner, maybe do some shopping in the afternoon, it's a great place to spend a nice summer day. All right, another example of amazing architecture is that you can visit. There's a place called the Old Stone House in Hasbrook, New York. And this has a supernatural element to it. So the Old Stone House is a beautiful old stone house that was it was first constructed in the 1700s. And in the 1970s, it was turned into an art center. So in the Old Stone House, you can take art classes, drama classes, they have sculpting, and it's like a community center. So you can go and take classes there or see an art show there. It's really a nice place. The supernatural part of it, in the 1840s, there was a mysterious murder in the house. And the person who was murdered was a local politician named Anthony Hasbrook. And I don't think the murder was solved. Supposedly, his ghost still haunts the Old Stone House. And there have been many ghost hunter groups that have done investigations in the Old Stone House, trying to make contact with this murder victim, Anthony Hasbrook. So the Old Stone House, it's a community center, it's an art center, it's a house that was built in the 1700s with a ghostly twist. All right, I know I'm spending a lot of time on architecture. There is so much cool architecture. All right, one more thing I want to mention under architecture. There's so much cool architecture in the Catskills. If you love to drive around and look at cool architecture, this is a great place to come. There is a hamlet in Ulster County known as Stone Ridge. It's 2 words, Stone Ridge. It's actually part of a town called Marbletown, New York. It's my favorite town to drive through. Sometimes we have to drive through it when we're going different places. I love driving through Stone Ridge because the streets are lined with these old stone houses, beautiful stone houses. So there's a main street, and again, it's lined with these beautiful stone houses. Each one is more beautiful than the last. And these are houses that date back to the 1800s. They're just beautiful old stone houses. And if you want to have a nice Catskill drive up to Marbletown, drive up to Stone Ridge, and just drive around and look at the beautiful houses. Okay, so a lot of amazing architecture in the Catskill area of New York. 4th reason I love living in the New York Catskills, I'm going to call this category the kooky Catskills, the kookie-ness of the New York Catskills. There are some kooky things to see, some quirky, eccentric, odd attractions to see in the New York Catskills that I just love. So I'm going to share some of them with you here. Kooky thing to see in the Catskills is in Sullivan County, there is something called the Dove Trail. So as I mentioned before, the Woodstock Festival of 1969 was held in Sullivan County, New York, and the theme of it was like peace, love, and harmony. And the dove was the symbol of the festival. And so to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Woodstock Festival in 2019, Sullivan County began to create a series of dove sculptures around the county. And if you can literally drive around the county and look at all the doves, and that's known as the Dove Trail. Each of the doves is hand painted by a local artist. And if you go to the Sullivan County Visitors Association website, you can download a PDF of a map of where all the doves are around the county. There are people who come to Sullivan County and they spend the day taking photographs of each of themselves at each of the doves. And each dove is different than the last. And there are different locations all around the county. Okay, I don't know if this contest is still going on, but if you upload a selfie of yourself with one of the doves and you upload it on social media to, and I'll put the hashtag up here, hashtag Sullivan Catskills Dove Trail, you can be entered into a monthly contest, a drawing, to win a prize. I don't know all the details of the contest, but supposedly you can, if you put your selfies up there, you might win a prize from the Visitors Association. So that is something very unique to Sullivan County, is the Dove Trail. And again, there's 50 doves to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the 1969 Woodstock Festival. All right, a couple more kooky things to do in the New York State Catskills. The next thing I'm going to feature is something called the Catskill Conestoga Wagon Outpost. This is in Delaware County, New York, on a river called the Beaver Kill River. And it's in a town called Cooks Fall, New York, in Delaware County. At this park, they have constructed 4 authentic Conestoga wagons that would have been used if you went west on the Oregon Trail back in the 19th century. So they have, and they're circled like a wagon train would, these 4 authentic wagons. And I think they even have bathrooms in them. They're like modern. In the center is a fire pit. You can actually relive what it would have been like to be on the Oregon Trail on a wagon train in the middle of the New York Catskills. All right, so this is a great family-friendly place to come. They also have a couple cabins to rent if you don't want to stay in the wagons, but you can bring your pet. It's pet-friendly. And there are so many activities that you can do when you stay in this park. They have kayaking, they have biking, you can get bikes, you can fish in the river, you can go tubing, there's hike trails. They even have a little farm there you can tour with your family. So if you have small kids, this would really be a fun place to visit. And it's in the middle of the New York Catskills, but it's like a taste of the West. So I thought that was really kooky and odd, but a great place to visit, and also not too expensive either. All right, the last kooky place I found to visit in the New York Catskills is called Pratt Rock, which has been called New York's Mount Rushmore. It is in the northern part of the Catskills in a place called Prattsville. All right, so it's named for a man named Zadok Pratt. Yes, Zadok. I've never heard that name before. Zadok Pratt. So Zadok Pratt was born in the 1700s, and he was an early colonial settler in New York State. He opened up a tanning business. He later on became a banker, and he actually had 2 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives in the early part of American history. And later on in his life, he hired stone workers to commemorate his life by sculpting a local cliff. So stone workers kind of made these sculptures on a local cliff to commemorate his life. And you can actually park and hike up to where these sculptures are. Now I've read that the hike is a moderate hike. It's not a hike for small children, and it's not too difficult of a hike, but it's a moderate hike. But you can literally park, and it's a 3-mile hike up to where these sculptures are. And you can see the sculptures. I'll put some photos in this video, but there are these carvings in this on this cliff to commemorate Zadok Pratt's life. So there are some kooky, quirky places to visit in the New York Catskills, which is another reason why I love living here. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit more about the New York Catskills and amazing attractions here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.